Hello, and my name is Vicki, and welcome to my Creative Corner 3's FlossTube. This week, I wanted to show you a couple of stitch finishes. I haven't got a fully finished project yet. Cross stitch is relatively new to me after a long 20-some year hiatus from it. I do a lot of quilting, crafting, and all kinds of things on this channel, including things I cut with Cricut machines. But FlossTube is about cross stitching, and I'll have a few quilt projects that I have been working on. Cross stitch has been part of my life again this summer. Fat Quarter Shop invited me to stitch along with a project, and it has really been therapeutic for me. I had COVID twice this summer, and it really changed how I need to do things. And I needed to take a few months off of quilting, long arming, because I really didn't feel that my brain was engaging fast enough to run a machine or a rotary cutter. And cross stitch, I could sit and I didn't get dizzy or have problems with balance or standing. Endurance has been a problem. If you've had COVID and you have long COVID, you know what I'm talking about. And there's nothing like anything else that I've ever had, including some of the autoimmune problems that I have. So the first thing to talk about is I wanted to stitch some sunflower projects for September. I overestimated how slow I am at cross stitching and how much I really wanted to get done. But I used Fat Quarter Shop's free petite sunflower, and it is a super cute little pattern. It measures only about 3 by 3, yes. And I really like the small petite stitches because I want to make some pillows with the tiny granny squares that I made with the pearl cotton I bought as a mistake. I thought I bought embroidery floss, but no, I bought pearl cotton. And you remember I practiced my granny square because there was a granny square along with Lori Holt and Fat Quarter Shop. So these are going to be made into little pillows that are going to go on my tier tray. And these I felt were fall, and they went with the things, the pumpkins I have on the tray. So the petite sunflower I stitched 3 by 3, and I learned a lot. As you can tell, I am just learning again, and there were a couple spots where I realized I didn't cross my X's the same way. Not the end of the world, but I like having them all go the same way because I can see a definite ridge in one of these petals. The other thing is I miscounted and I had to stitch over some of these light highlights in the petal. Same for the middle. The colors for the seeds, I kind of lost count, and I did a lot of stitching over top of a couple of stitches. So overall, I am very happy, and I think it will look really good with my collection of little pillows that I'm going to make. So that was one stitch that I finished. Now the other one, the stitch that I finished the project on, now I need to work on fully finishing it. I have some frames I want to show you and get your opinion on. But what I finished is You're the Boss. So let me find the pattern. It's a Lori Holt pattern that was, here it is. That was another stitch along with Fat Quarter Shop. I love quilting, and the quilt blocks are beautiful. Also, the center was customizable. So there is a free alphabet on Fat Quarter Shop, and it's called I'm Just Saying. And it happens to be the same font she used for the center of You're the Boss. And so what I really found with this project was I made so many mistakes. Now what's super cute is that the I'm Just Saying comes with a cute little sampler, and if you want to stitch it, that's in the pattern. It's got alphabets, exclamation points, other punctuation, and other numbers. So you can do a lot with the I'm Just Saying. And I just went with the letters, and I decided I wanted mine to say something that was very meaningful for me. I do like the phrase Lori uses, you're the boss of your own quilt, because it reminds me that you can do whatever you want with a project, which sometimes I get hung up on. I get hung up on details of mine doesn't look exactly like the pattern, or maybe I don't have the exact fabric like the pattern, or I make some mistakes. So I also have a journal that I've been purchasing. It's a monthly journal from Silk and Sonder, and it is a journal a lot about personal growth, some activities, planning, all kinds of things. And you can, it's rather expensive, but I thought it was cheaper than therapy. It's $20 a month. And I like it because you can start fresh every month. And there's a theme to every month with a lot of activities. But she has a mini podcast she starts every day with that you can use to journal with, as well as inspiration for the day. And one theme, almost a mantra that she uses a lot, is the phrase breaking up with perfection. That we're constantly, especially people who were firstborn, maybe overachievers, kind of the keeper of a lot of things in families, which I am. I'm always breaking up with perfection. I started young with crafting, but I also started young with playing violin, and the perfection you have to play that instrument. I hear that a lot from people who take ballet, as well as other very skilled things that really push you to being nearly perfect. Now, I can tell you, I was never very perfect as a violinist. And I enjoyed playing for many years in a community orchestra, both violin and bass. But I had to learn as an adult to break up with perfection, and it's been a lifelong journey. So I chose breaking up with perfection on the sampler. And you can look at all of my stitches here. I'm going to be very brave. Don't look too closely. Over here, it looks pretty good. Over here, this is the first block I did. I made a mistake right out the gate and didn't catch it till I was all done with the block. It's one row too long, which made the pinwheels here a teeny bit squishy. However, from a distance, it doesn't look bad. And you can tell I also made a mistake somewhere down here. I don't know where it is, and I quit looking after a while. And it's a little too long. So there's a gap. But that's the charm of handmade projects, right? That they're not perfect. And I don't know if doing borders first would prevent this or just encourage me to have problems. But I really think the center went quite well with breaking up with perfection. The F and the G kind of blend together, but I think that also is part of the charm. So that is done. So let me grab the frames and get some ideas, because they didn't have a pure white Ada cloth when I ordered this from Fat Quarter Shop. So I went with, I think it is called cappuccino, which is oatmeal color. So I've got 2 different frames from Hobby Lobby. I had to travel out of town to go Hobby Lobby because our local Hobby Lobby was destroyed in a tornado that we had in May. Coincides with the first time I had COVID. And they're rebuilding, but when you have a major tornado went through major areas of our little tiny town, there's a lot of rebuilding that still is happening, and there's like cleanup that is still happening. Hobby Lobby is cleaned up, but it'll probably take a good year for them to get supplies and the manpower to rebuild. I'm hoping they rebuild. But I did go to the store. I am an avid online shopper because I live in rural northern Michigan. However, there's a Hobby Lobby near the Costco we go to, and so I am really liking that. I found a few things on clearance. Let me get them. Okay, so the first thing is, while I was up and getting the frames, I found my September Silk and Sonder journal. And the theme in September was balance. So it was really fun to try to balance my life while I was having balance problems. I thought, how apropos. There's a lot of places to just do journaling, like bullet journal style. And I am not an affiliate with this particular company, but I just think the product is so good. You can track things. You have mood trackers as well as, your regular calendars. Lots of journaling stuff that is, they have a psychologist on their staff. And then here is like a weekly spread. So what I like is that it's new every month. And it gives me a chance to go with a different theme. It's going to be hard in October because the theme is surrender. Surrender. As in, if you surrender the things that aren't serving you well, what can you make room for in your life? And I'm hoping to make room for more self-care and recuperation and exercise and all the healthy things. So that is where my inspiration came from for the particular breaking up with perfection. So here we go. I got this particular frame that is long and narrow and rectangular. Yes, Let's Be Homebodies is exactly me. And I think I've got a foam board that I can fill this entire space, cover the foam board with fabric, and then use the same foam core board. I don't have a sticky board, and I couldn't find sticky boards like Lori Holt used. So there is this frame. Now I'm setting the other frame down. So let's look at this particular one. I thought this might go better with this off-white. So this is another question. How many threads do you leave open? I think Kimberly Jolly in her tutorial didn't have lots of room. So I'm thinking this, about like this particular width, just maybe a 1/2 inch. And cover up the back with a piece of fabric on a foam board, and then put this on a foam core board or sticky board with a little bit of batting, kind of doing a 2D layer, because you can see this is like a shadow box frame. Do you think that would look good with the brown, more wood, exposed wood, stained wood feel? I've never done a fully finished project. I only did a table topper before in my illustrious and I don't want to say failure cross stitch past, but that if you watch my first FlossTube, you'll know. The other one I got was this particular frame was on sale for $7.50. It's awfully white. When I got it home, I thought this was a lot whiter in my mind, but I knew it wasn't pure white. But I was going to do the same type of thing, you know, using the sticky boards. But I think that's too white. I'm going to pull it down a little bit. And then put, you know, fabric on the back. So that'll be the next project. I got to go through my stash to see what would look good behind this. I do have a couple of Lori Holt prints and pieces that might look good. I think that's too white. I like the other, and you can tell I have a lot of natural wood in my house. So I'm leaning toward the Let's Be Homebodies frame for the fully finished. Those are my two finishes. I'm super slow, but I've learned I like stitching in hand and I like the sewing method. I'd never learned stitch in hand before, and I didn't do sewing as the cross stitch style. I think it's called the Dutch style. And I learned the loop method, so you don't I used to tie knots. I know, horror of horrors. My back, they're starting to look as good as the front, almost. So that is what I have done. Now, what have I started? My current whip is a freebie from, let me pull the chart because it's free, but this is how it printed off. So tiny. I have access to a Xerox machine and I was able to blow it up to where you can actually read it. But these turn out to be about 3.5, 4 inches. I thought the perfect size for my tier tray. And I love the Halloween typography. It's a French website, so it says Vive Halloween. And I love mandalas. So it is so small here, but it is brodyzen@hotmail.fr is the website. And I'm bringing that up pretty close. I hope you can see it. I had to do some accepting of translating it from French to English. I couldn't really, it was in French, so I don't really know what I was agreeing to, but I printed off the chart. And I am this far. Look at how cute. Got the little black cat in the middle, and I love how we have, this is halfway. We're going to finish the pumpkins in the corners and these gray spiders. So the black hearts will go in the middle here. And the pattern calls for this to be red, which I'm excited about. I do have red. And then yellow will go in where the pumpkin's face is. So I've learned quite a bit in making progress in cross stitch. I know I really need to zigzag the edge of these. And this is on just a Ada cloth that I got from Hobby Lobby on that mail order where I made the mistake. So it's pretty stiff. So I don't think I'll lose too many threads on it. I was going to try to do bats and boos, but let me show you how the pattern printed out. I can't read that. Just didn't matter what I did. I couldn't figure out how to enlarge it. But this is a freebie at Fat Quarter Shop, also from last year. It's super cute. I may keep the pattern on hand to figure out a way to make it to where I can read it and maybe rechart. I don't know. But it would take a lot more work than I want to do. So the thing I want to stitch for Christmas is called, I'll just show you, it's a PDF that I've printed off, and it's Kimberly Jolly, I'm going to do her version for Christmas, is the Stitchy Stars. This is a Lori Holt pattern, a purchased Lori Holt pattern. And what I thought is these are so cute. They're the same size as the stars of You're the Boss. And one of the options was you could pick some of these stars to go in that particular stitch. But what Kimberly did, which I thought was brilliant, is she used the same colors in this, except she substituted for the blues greens and kept the pinks and whites. Oh, it makes for a very pretty Christmas. Yes, I thought this would be a pretty Christmas stitch. And I went on a deep dive yesterday seeing finishes being done as drums. This may be too small for my first drum. But maybe not. We'll see. I really liked the thought of it, making a drum, but it is only 3 inches wide, but 20 inches long. So it may be too long to do a drum for it, but I thought, thinking about it, how could I make that into a drum? It may be not your typical drum. Maybe a wider circle drum. But I did watch it, and I think I can do it. I like doing hand stitching. So that is where I'm at with cross stitch. I've been afraid to do a lot of quilting with the rotary cutter, to be honest, because I had the post-COVID brain fog, which is still coming and going. But I've been watching a lot of Fat Quarter Shop's YouTube, and they had a free Christmas time mystery quilt start. And I liked the first pattern so much that I was like, no matter what happens, it's only 4 blocks, by the way. So it's a very small wall hanging, which I have a metal door at work, which I can use magnetic clips, and it would be super cute. This is a free pattern at Fat Quarter Shop for Christmas time mystery quilt along. Well, I'm going to show you 3 of the 4 that have been released. I altered mine a little bit and made a little strip on the top of my cup. I thought it turned out so cute. I might do a whole quilt of different cups. This is really a fun one. I had to make the block twice because I rotated this patch and made it the wrong size. But I have another cup that's the wrong size I could make into a mug rug if I want. And then the second one came out, and I watched the how-to. I am terrible at flying geese without paper piecing it. And this one is called Hard Candy Christmas. Let me find what it's supposed to look like. How mine turned out. Yeah, Hard Candy Christmas, based on the Dolly Parton song. So here is the Hard Candy Christmas cover sheet of the pattern. And Kimberly did tutorials on all of these. So it helps because my brain, it's like taking free classes, right? I have free patterns and free education and a massive stash. And I have a massive stash because I had a friend who passed away, who had parts of her friend who passed away's stash. And rather than have all that fabric go in a dumpster, we made an arrangement that I picked it up, disseminated a ton of it to friends, family, and charity. And then I have a lot. These are all from her stash. So I'm reminded of my friend, my late friend, even though some of my hard candies don't quite meet. And then I freaked out because these are not the same size. But then I saw Kimberly Jolly's, and hers, see how long that is? Hers aren't the same size either. So it says finished size 8.5 by 9.5 for hard candy. And then the Christmas cheer is 7.5 by 9.5. So then when I went back and actually read the directions, reading and processing sometimes can be a little hard post-COVID, as well as all of my other long haul stuff. And I realized I did it right. I did it right. What a thing. I was freaking out and ready to cut that block down. I am so glad I didn't. Because then the third Christmas cards came out. The third block. Look at all of these flying geese. They're not my friend. They really aren't. And I've decided that I paper piece them much, much better. I do not have this block done, but it finishes at 9.5 by 15.5. Oh, the camera is sitting on one of them. Let me grab. I got, this is going to be the background on the whole card, is this dark color. So the second block, I'm going to do this darker background. But here are two of the Christmas cards. And I just realized, yeah, looking at this, look at how much of a baby flying geese there is at the bottom. Oh, joy, oh, joy. I have green ones cut out. So two of the little cards are going to be red and two are going to be green. These look a little bit better. They are not my friends. Flying geese, they are hard for me. I've quilted for 30 years of my life. I don't know why this has been so hard, but it's like I have to start all over and learn how to use all of my tools and accessories. And the education from her free videos help. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is that she announced yesterday that there's a free 24 block, 1 block a week sew along called Socialites 2 with all the same education, and the blocks are 3 different sizes, and they've revealed one layout. I'm going to do it because I am so rusty. I feel like it's coming back. I long arm also, and it's taken me the entire month of September to do my friend's quilt, which usually would take me a week or two. But oh well, I have a day job too, so you know I can't quilt full time. But I wanted to tell you that you know what? Things happen in life, and sometimes you have to start over. And that's how I feel like I'm starting over, and I'm getting the therapeutic effects of making. I was able to find all of the right threads for stitchy start, which I'm going to start probably after the cute little Halloween pillows, and not do it patriotic, but Christmas. And I'm going to be ambitious, and at one time I am going to do a drum because I'm fascinated with them, and it would look great on that shelf behind me where I have all of my stuff. You know, I'm going to get a Halloween quilt to show you that I really did have a time a couple years ago where I was like very, very creative and did everything from start to finish on these quilts, from the cutting, piecing, sewing, quilting, and binding. I have designed quilts, but this happens to be a quilt design from Just Get It Done Quilts. So let me grab that quilt for you so I can show you, and then I'm going to change the camera angle so I can stand up and show you that quilt. This is a Tulip Pink Sugar Skulls de la Luna, and you can see all of my quilting on it. Let me stand back. It was a layer cake pattern. And I think these these look like bats to me. So I used the moon fabric and just went to town. I love these up in the top. And if you look super close, there's skulls and all kinds of Halloween in your non-traditional Halloween colors. The evil eye and the like quilting spirals. And I just used this color on the back because I had a lot of it. Same, and I thought the gray was a neutral. So I'm going to show kind of what the center looks like, which I really love stars. And then I like to do these kind of geometric swirly square swirls. Anyway, I did spider webs. I forgot. I did a lot of spider webs in this particular quilt. So that is my fully finished Halloween quilt. And the one quilt top, the Bats and Boos, was a cross stitch as well as a quilt along free pattern. So here I have the top done. I really like how this quilt turned out. It's really quite a bold graphic punch. And I used a leftover De La Luna bat. And then there's your bats. And I fussy cut pumpkins for in the pumpkins with the fun star in the center. Now this is a wall hanging, but I so love fall and Halloween. So there we go. This is my goal to do this year. I want to thank you for stopping by my FlossTube and QuiltyTube channel and allowing me to share some of my quilty things, since I am the world's slowest cross stitcher. And I hope to be sharing more and maybe have some fully finishes next time I do FlossTube. So thank you so much for coming. And don't forget, I do have a podcast. I'm posting the audio to it, which is going to be on YouTube as well as on my blog, which is mycreativecorner3.com. Thanks so much. Have a great week.